Hey everyone, so here we are. It's a Saturday and I'm inside the Airstream right now because the winds are super strong and cutting right through my jacket. So, as promised in the last episode, I'm starting into a series about making a living from your RV. So, if you're interested in full-time RVing but you're not at retirement age yet, I wanted to talk to you about some of the things that you can do. So I'm not at retirement age. I actually started full-time RVing in 2006 through a series of life-changing events. And I found myself on the road for most of 2006, and then part of 2007. That's when I discovered Prescott, Arizona, and I ended up staying here quite a while still traveling with the Airstream here and there. And in 2007, I wasn't really trying to find a way to earn a living while full-time RVing. Instead, in 2008, I actually bought into a gallery in Prescott, Arizona. So for several years, I was working at building a business at a gallery in downtown Prescott. It wasn't until 2013 that I really started thinking about ways to earn a living while full-time RVing and being able to travel and work at the same time. Now, as you know, following along here, I'm in Prescott a lot. One of the major reasons I'm in Prescott a lot is because I like the area, the mountain biking, the rock climbing, the hiking trails. It's got everything. And it's also got a Best Buy. Usually in tourist communities and in places that people like to go visit, there aren't a lot of amenities or a lot of job opportunities. In the case of Prescott, there are a lot of amenities. There's multiple grocery stores, a couple of Walmarts. Hey, RV'ers love Walmarts, right guys? Because you can park in some of them overnight. But there isn't an IT, a whole group of IT jobs here in the Prescott area. And in my previous life, I was doing telecom engineering and telecom switch management. And there's really none of that here when I started looking around. But so in 2013, while I was contracting out in West Virginia, I started thinking about doing web design services for RV parks and other destination locations. So that's part of what I do. That's not necessarily what you're going to need to do. One of the big things is your job suited to full-time RVing? Can you actually do your job from the road? So let's take a couple of examples. If, let's say, you're a cardiologist or a heart surgeon, most likely your business is going to be location-based, so you're going to be in one location. Traveling heart surgeons, traveling brain surgeons, you don't hear of that. Those particular disciplines are suited to a stationary location. When you start thinking about mobile-friendly jobs, some IT work fits in there, and that's some of what I do. I have met people who are owners of programming firms where they're actually software developers making custom software for clients. That is a job that is well suited to full-time RVing, because so long as they've got a network connection, they can be building programs, so that works. For me, the web design component of my business works very well for that, and I can actually travel with my mobile studio to my client locations, camp with them if they happen to be in an RV park, really get to know the park, and get some of that first-hand knowledge into the sites that I build for customers. I've also met folks who actually do call center work, so they take phone calls all day as customer support for people who are getting in touch with their businesses. So for them, one of the most important things is having good cell phone connection or good video conference call connections. I also recently met a gentleman who is a white hat hacker for an insurance company. So his job is to test the security of their clients' businesses online and that can be done from anywhere with network connection. So a lot of the IT fields absolutely are conducive to full-time RVing. Things like the call center work are absolutely conducive for full-time RVing. You've just got to park yourself somewhere and make sure that you're available to take those calls. Other ideas, work camping. So for a lot of retirees, they will stay at parks and they will work part-time for the parks, and in exchange they'll get a free site. Maybe they'll get a salary, maybe they won't. It really depends on the type of park or resort that they're working for. I've seen places where people are putting in a lot of hours and they're only getting a free site in exchange, and quite honestly, when I've seen stuff like that, I said, you'd actually do better working at Walmart. You'd make more money for the same hours and you could pay for your site. A lot of other people that I've met over time, some people have tried doing photography on the road, travel photography and travel writing, and while that works for some, that's a tough marketplace to get into, and we'll talk more about that in a future episode when we get into discipline by discipline. But bottom line, so the big question is, you know, the type of work you do, is it location based or can it be a mobile thing? So, you know, being an auto repair person, most likely you're going to be better off working at a dealership or an independent location, and that's going to be location based. So that's going to be a real tough one to move around with. One of the interesting fields that I've seen, and I've met a lot of people doing it, is traveling nurses. So they will go from location to location, short-term contracts, anywhere from 3 to 6 months, and they'll work in that location and then they move on to the next contract. So that's an interesting one where they do have a location-based job. They need to be at this hospital or that doctor's office for a time, but then they can move on, allowing their families to experience the new areas and allowing themselves to experience the new areas that they're visiting in between the work. So there are a lot of opportunities in the tech realm for sure for earning a living from your RV. And if you're creative, I think that there are a lot of other opportunities too. The location-based opportunities might not be so good, but I've seen some people get really creative. One other person I thought of who is an expert RV repair and RV mechanic, and this particular guy, he spends part of the year down in southern Arizona, and he works with a lot of the RV resorts in southern Arizona. So while there's the big population of RV'ers visiting resorts and parks, he's available to help them out if their air conditioners get broke or they need a new fridge or any other RV repairs and maintenance. So during his summer season, he's traveling the country for 5 to 6 months a year with his wife. And during the winter season, that's when he earns his living to cover the expenses of their fun adventures during the summer. So there are ways to do a location-based job. They're just not the most conducive to full-time RVing. So bottom lining it for you, there are opportunities to make a living full-time from your RV, and we're going to start picking through different jobs over the next couple of weeks. We'll talk about it together. So in my case, once again, I do a lot of digital work, so website design, e-commerce solutions, database design, and search engine optimization, and now we're starting to include drone work with the work that I do with my business partner. And a lot of drone work is location-based. I need to go to this location and photograph or film or collect data, but I can bring my Airstream to those locations. I can actually spend time in those locations. I can earn money while I'm in those locations, and I can do it all from the Airstream. So that's totally feasible. So we'll talk more in depth about what it is I do, and then we'll brainstorm together. And by the way, so don't get discouraged when you're first starting to think about this. It does take some time, and you do need to be creative in your thought process about what you want to prioritize. So if it's very important to you to start traveling more and you don't need a huge income, there's a lot of ways to full-time RV and earn a living that gets you to the next location. If you're looking to really grow a business, it might be a little more challenging if you're starting out from scratch. And take it from a guy who's been working on doing his own business for a decade now. I'm finally getting traction, and we're finally moving forward, and I'm thrilled about that. But you know, it's taken a decade to get to a point where I'm feeling more comfortable with the fact that I'm doing my own business. So if you're just setting out in the RV tomorrow, you've got no idea how you're going to earn a living, you haven't dreamt anything up yet, you might want to take a little bit of time to start thinking and planning about what it is you want to do to make your travel and work fit together.